Okay. Managed to keep everything intact, minus this one cut. I just didn't have the strength or ability to get this over the axle with the amount of room I have vertically as well. At least it smells like a diesel now. What's up, everybody? On today's video, we are going to tune and then delete my new to me 2021 L5P Duramax. And where are they at? I got too many boxes in here. This whole video is brought to you by SPELAB. SPELAB has provided the entire kit to fully delete and tune that truck. And 5-inch straight pipe exhaust with a downpipe, EGR delete, DPF delete, SCR delete. What else? There's like a coolant block off for everything. Anyway, we'll go through all the parts. If you like this content, like and subscribe to the channel. This is Boat Restoration by Ben, and that is my boat hauling utility truck. And this, I mean, I don't hate the look of the stock exhaust because it's got a big old tip on the end. I mean, the new tip will be 5 inches just like that. But all this after treatment has got to go, because when you fire this thing up, you can't even hear the turbo. So this is what this truck sounds like before deleting or removing the existing exhaust. For all intents and purposes, pretty lame. Quiet, a lot of restrictions on the motor currently. Tune part's already been done, so we're gonna pull this into the spot in the driveway next to the big old well craft, and we're gonna start removing the pieces that are needed to get the new exhaust kit on. So I'll walk you guys through all the parts that I have, and then each section, install, how-tos, best tips and tricks. Should be good. So we have a few things that we need to do. One, remove the entire downpipe and then existing exhaust from the engine or turbo downpipe, including the SCR right behind the turbo on this truck. I'll show you all the way back to the back of the truck. And that may sound fairly easy, but there's also several parts in these trucks that you have to remove just to drop the exhaust out of it. So there's a way to disassemble it and remove it, or cut it up and remove it. And once that is complete, this is the stainless steel 5-inch downpipe back exhaust that's going to go on the truck to replace it. Now this is a kit supplied by SPELAB. The link is in my description. You guys can click on it. Use the code BOAT15, that's BOAT, all caps, 15, to get a 15% discount on all SPELAB parts, especially for this kit specifically for 2020 plus 2020 to 2023 L5P Duramax. They also sell kits for all other diesels, including the 2017 through 2019 L5P, LMLs, Cummins, Fords, you name it. I also got here, so after the 5-inch exhaust kit, we're also going to do an SCR, DPF, EGR, delete. So exhaust gas recirculation. We've got some block off plates, some hosing, all that we'll go through, as well as a CAN bus connector kit. This thing's so fancy that it actually has, where'd they go? No, this is the CAN bus plug kit. You have to plug in these CAN bus plugs into some of the existing harness connectors because they want a return signal for that connector, so it actually closes the loop and keeps things happy once you actually unplug them from the existing after treatment. And then I actually went ahead and I got the up pipes from the exhaust manifold. So we got stainless steel 2.5-inch up pipes, and below that, I believe, stand by. Yeah, here we go. My 3.5-inch stainless steel down pipe, which I've got some exhaust wrap for as well. Look at that bad boy. This thing's gonna be singing. The one review I have read about this down pipe, so this is off the turbo and it's modified because we're literally removing our SCR, our selective catalyst reduction system. So it basically is what burns off a lot of the soot, and also doses your DEF fluid. We're removing that piece, so this pipe is actually modified to fit in that space and get all the way to the back of the turbo. One thing I have read is that you have to modify the end of this flange slightly. I think you have to shorten it to actually fit up to the turbo properly. I think it's slightly too long. So that's a recommendation that's been made to SPELAB to fix. But as we get to that point, I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So good quality parts. I'm fairly happy. The fitment, you know, there's always a little bit of adjustment, but I really think this ought to be a nice kit. You know, and all said and done, outside of the tune, this is in the $2,000 ballpark of parts. If you do use that discount code BOAT15, BOAT15, you'll get 15% off. It's save you several $100s. Alright, so let's get underneath here and just take a peek. So nothing too crazy right now. There's a 3.5-inch, or maybe if this is even a 4-inch exhaust. Back we got some plugs and sensors that'll no longer be used. And there we've got our existing tailpipe out there, which is a cool design. You know, it uses a Venturi effect where it actually sucks in outside air and cools off that exhaust coming out the back, especially when it goes through regen. But no more regen, so we shouldn't need that. We got a big, I believe this is our diesel particulate filter right here. So that bad boy sits in the middle. We got an extension pipe because this is a 6.5-foot bed crew cab or quad cab. Let's slide forward. I'll show you guys the next things. I stole a cushion that I'm using as my slider. I need to actually probably should jack the truck up. Alright, then we go forward here. We got another cam that could be a resonator. I'm not specifically sure on these trucks, I'll have to look. Let's see. Maybe this is our DPF. That's just a muffler back there. Either or, I'll have to see. But then she goes, oh, I gotta be careful. She goes up, and you can just barely see the start of our existing downpipe here, which is gonna go away, and we'll have to tie into that to get the new exhaust on the truck. So a little tight. I was hoping to be able to do this on a lift that I had built in the new shop that I'm currently constructing. However, it wasn't done in time, and I got to get this project knocked out. So here we are in the driveway. Like many of you will probably be doing this, is in your driveway or garage. So I'm gonna roll this thing up and get it a little higher so I can actually fit underneath this thing with a little more than a foot of clearance. That'll make it a lot easier for me to get this exhaust out. I know just looking, guys will remove this transmission cross member. I'm gonna try and not do that, but we'll see how tight it ends up being. I'll probably have to remove this cross member that's right here. Oh. I know for a fact this is one of the control modules that's gonna go away. That you know, is a sensor CAN bus plug for, I believe, our DEF. So it, you know, it's reading and telling the exhaust system when it needs to dose or not. Fun fact, this truck, since it's been tuned and hasn't had the original exhaust removed yet, has been dosing all of the DEF out of the tank. So it actually has 0 DEF in it now. Tank level still reads that it has DEF in it. I think that's part of the tune, or I know that it's part of the tune, so you're not getting engine codes. But it literally was blowing white exhaust smoke, ammonia, out the back for a day while it got rid of, you know, a gallon of DEF. So it just purged its whole system, which just tells me the tune is doing what it needs to do. You can't really see anything in there, so let's hop under the hood real quick. I'll show you the other 2 things, or 3 things that are going to be removed in this process. So under the hood here, there's some plugs that'll be capped, but then also some coolant feeds that'll also be rerouted or blocked off. First and foremost, our exhaust gas recirculation, which is this pipe right here, runs off the back of the EGR cooler up through this pipe, and then there's a throttle body valve that puts it right into our Y pipe that goes into our intake, you know, where the turbo is. Turbo is right here in the middle, and this big can back here with the heat shielding is our SCR. That needs to come out. It won't come out as it currently sits. You actually have to pull the turbo off to be able to get to it. Some guys loosen their cab mounts and raise their cab in order to get that out, so they don't have to remove their turbo. I think in this case, I'm just gonna pull the turbo off. Show you guys that, because it is kind of a cool, beefy VGT, variable geometry turbo. But long story short, all this stuff you see here is gonna be removed off the truck, free up a lot of space. And then, man, I can't really see right now, but there are 2 up pipes that go from the exhaust manifolds on the side of this engine block and then up to the exhaust side, turbine side of the turbocharger. So that's actually what feeds the exhaust gases to the turbine and then powers the compressor, which then produces the boost and sends that through, you know, charge pipe, aftercooler, intercooler, and then into our Y pipe and into our intake manifold. So those up pipes will be replaced as well. So we're gonna have new up pipes, new down pipe, which that thing comes up and replaces the SCR, and then a straight pipe 5-inch exhaust out the back. Bear with me. For right now, we're gonna start with the actual exhaust removal, and then we'll move into inside the engine bay here, removing the EGR and SCR. Well, that is what we're looking for. Got my 2 jack stands down there. God damn, it's a big rear end. Anyway, supported, gave myself another, you know, 6-8 inches in the back, and then another 5-8 inches in the front. And then we have our 2 jack spots right here. I put my jack stands right behind each jack spot. Gave me a few more inches in there to slide around. And then actually I left my jack on this front control arm support just to add a little more support to the engine, because there's a lot of weight up front here. Very strong tubed frame, but might as well have all of those there just for safekeeping. So this will actually allow me to be able to fit underneath, get to the exhaust parts that I need to get to, and then I would never work on the engine from this height. It'd be nearly impossible to get to components up here. So this will actually allow me to remove the exhaust, and then if I need to, I can still run and drive the truck with those parts still on it. And in between removing this exhaust, putting the new exhaust on, or if I have like a stopping point and I don't have enough time to get to the exhaust install, I could always just run it without them in an exhaust, which is fine. It's just going to be a little louder than it normally would be. But hopefully get all this done in one foul swoop. But just, again, be thinking before you just tear everything apart. You can do this in stages and still be able to drive the truck after it's been tuned, of course. And wouldn't be a backyard job if you weren't working out of the toolbox that's attached to the truck that you're actually doing this work on. So now I got to jump up here, which this is like 65 inches tall now, grab a few tools and start pulling off this old exhaust. Again, if you guys are looking for these SPELAB parts, go to my description. All the links for all the parts that I'm using are in the description, including the code BOAT15, get 15% off. It's a heck of a deal. And this isn't just for L5P Duramaxes, any diesel parts that you're looking for. SPELABs is the place to get them. So thank you again to SPELAB for providing these parts for the truck. Let's get into exhaust removal. All right, first up, we're gonna take my Sawzall and we're actually gonna cut right here in front of the axle and then remove these 2 fittings right here. We also have a couple lines, yeah, going into this right here. So those, I think we're just gonna, you can unbolt them, but I think we're just gonna trim them off, because those will actually go straight with this. My whole goal is to save all of this piping for a later date, just in case, or sell it to somebody. If you want to remove this in one piece without cutting, you got to remove some of these cross members. I'm not gonna do that. I think we cut here, this piece comes off in the back, and then unbolt there, and this whole piece comes off in the middle, and then we go forward. And again, we're doing all this before we even touch the things in the engine bay. Just a note too, I think this piece here, yeah, this goes to this sensor in the back. This module is going to come off and get a CAN bus plug, and then like I said, this guy up here as well, it's going to get unplugged. That's going to get a CAN bus plug, and this piece will be unbolted right there, and that'll come off with this exhaust pipe. So again, we're going from like 3.5, 4 inches to 5-inch straight pipe exhaust. you know, this is a really cool thing for me, because for some reason I have a tendency to buy things that are very rusty. This is a North Carolina truck, and the frame literally still has the factory frame coating on it. This thing's never seen snow or salt, which makes me really happy. The red tingiest stuff you do see on it is just dirt from North Carolina, so that's actually was one of the super appealing things about this truck, and part of why I bought it. Alright, also I'm gonna elect to go the route to not cut any sensor wires, so I'm actually gonna go through and undo all of the connectors first and then start cutting on the exhaust pipe. We'll see how far I go before I start cutting things. Here's the next thing. I don't even have to cut these. They're both attached to this back pipe here, but I'm gonna remove this connector here, and then I think one 10 or 8 millimeter bolt here, and that'll pop right off. Actually, I may just go ahead and take this whole bracket off right there. Over under. Should I be leaving these clips in the frame? I am. Just in case I need them. But either way, I mean, yes, whatever. Better leave them, have them there, than sitting somewhere on a workbench or in a tool chest where I forget about them. Not that I'm ever gonna go back on this whole situation, but whatever. Anyway. Essential tools: a pick, flathead screwdriver, set of snippers. Oh, and ear protection, eye protection. Not bad. We're gonna, all these will get zip tied up at some point too, I guess, down the road. We're just leave them dangling, so I know what I have and haven't hit yet. All right. I mean, maybe I can get this out without cutting. Let's give it a go. So I'm gonna go unbolt those 4 bolts there and see if this whole piece wants to finagle its way back far enough and then down and out. So I remove that, back it up, and then slide it down. We'll see if that'll work. Really? Oh, I'm gonna have to go to a wrench. Well, here's my here's an injector. That's gotta go. And then this little tank right here is my def tank. So that's gonna get removed at some point too. So I'm gonna try and... How are you doing? Good. You want to put in the garage or front door? Garage is fine, thanks. Then I'm gonna remove this connector plug here and remove these lines as well. It may bend some up getting it out, but at the very least, it's all out. You too. Yeah, that might be the best method here. Well, this is actually going much better than I had anticipated. I thought I'd be cutting a lot more by now, but actually I've been able to undo literally all these things without cutting. This is I think one of my def injection lines, and then my connectors are all unplugged. I got my other connectors dangling here, that are tied into the exhaust up there. I got this pipe loose. I got to take this boot off. I got these connectors all hanging down in the back here. Now, I think what I'm going to do is actually remove this cross member here so I can drop my def tank out at the same time as I remove this pipe here. So, all in all, not too bad. So far I've used 15 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and that flathead and the pick I was talking about. You know, there's nothing like doing a delete and tune on your truck with Chinese tools, getting ready to install Chinese aftermarket parts. Thanks, China. Oh, China. I'm sorry if... What do I have? I have Ego Fix. I don't know. It's probably from China. Save all your bolts. You'll notice my creeper for the day is a cushion. Ugh. I'm gonna get some wheels on it, but for right now, just I can do. Ow! All right. Oh. That's not the right size. Let's see. Huh. These bolts are literally hidden by, oh, that's how you get to them. They put two holes in the frame. That's clever. See, they put two holes in the frame, one there, one down here, to drop this whole frame out, or cross member, skid plate is what we'll call it. Support and skid plate. I probably shouldn't lay underneath it while I drop it out, but you know, whatever. Oh shit. I think it's empty. We're gonna find out. Where's the other one? Oh yeah. Damn it, I dropped the bolt in the frame. This is a bummer. Maybe I can get it out over here. Oh, yep, I can get it, yes. Come here, baby. Oh yeah, see that? Nice. Okay. Two more. Smaller bolts. A lot of dirt. Oh. Okay. This is the nitty-gritty part. Let's say 13. Yeah, those are 13. Okay. I'm getting a lot of North Carolina rocks and dirt out of here. Hold it. And I gotta do these, okay. Ow. Oh, well, hello there, Mr. Tank. Oh. Obviously there's some lines connected to it that need to be undone. Stand by. My feed line and a recirc vent. Pop that out. That's my CAN bus connector. Should be able to press that. Pop this back. I think I have a plug for this. Boom. Disconnect that. It circles around and goes to the def tank. Should be able to pop it out of the frame. Let's get one of the pop connectors. I really should have washed this thing before I did this. Actually, feels more like a zip tie. I need my wire snips. All right, stand by. Let me get this down. Then we'll get back to it. All right. The support is down. Now I just have to remove a couple connectors on this empty def tank. Oh, a little unorthodox, but we got it. We got it. Don't worry. Here's the strap that held the tank down. This def tank's actually pretty light once you get it out and off. Nice. Def, what a mess. What a mess. Found my lift pump. That's pretty cool. Stock lift pump from the factory. Gotta love that. I will say everything's thought out really well on the truck, which I do appreciate. Maybe I should, Ooh. God damn. Maybe I should just remove it from the fill side. I don't know. Oh. Well, I got the one. Let's see if I can get the other one. There we go. I got them both. Let's see what comes out. Oh, my connector's stuck. There we go. Hey, look at that. Got tank down. We got one more connector to remove. This. Screwdriver. Screwdriver. There you are. Nice. Uno mas. Boom. 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 Def tank out. See ya. Now I got this injector line. Ugh. Actually, I think this is diesel fuel. Huh. I bet there's a cap for this. Oh yeah. That's diesel fuel. Interesting. Right. Pull my diesel injection line off. I'm sure there are my CAN bus plugs for later. I'm sure there's a diesel cap somewhere in here. Now that's oops. That's EGR, I think. Maybe it's in this kit over here. I wonder what it wants me to do. Probably should have read the instructions. Nope, nope. Maybe it has me loop in. Exhaust. We got a cap. I got a plug. Maybe it has me just plug it. I bet it has me just plug it. Yeah, let's find out. The SPELAB kit came with these plugs and hose clamps. Whoops. Uh-oh. Get out of there. Ah, shit. Oh. Really? There we go. Anyway. Let's see if these are worth it. Ah, there's the old DEF tank. Oh, my hat and a frame sticker. Interesting. Found this back here. Barn Hill Contracting, North Carolina. It's like the delivery slip or something like that. B&N grading. Interesting. 2023. Wonder what that's all about. Oh God, there's so much stuff falling out of my hair. Okay. Oh. Let's see here. It's a little dusty down here. So, I'm sticking you on the frame. Here's that diesel line. I'm thinking they have me take this piece off here, spill diesel everywhere, and then cap it off right in this piece here. So, let me pull this off, make a really big mess, and then figure out what they actually what they wanted me to do. Let's see here. So, push in, pull out. Screwdriver. Oh, there we go. And let's spill diesel fuel everywhere now. Push in, pull out, come on. Okay. Did I miss something? Squeeze button. Oh, here's a button. Push the button. Ah, come on. Yeah, there we go. Aha, look. So this end, you guys see that? Looks a lot like this thing. Nice, somebody was thinking this thing's gonna go back right in here. And boom. Sealed and locked. And I'm even gonna steal this yellow doobie. Put that yellow doobie back on this doobie and call it a doobie. Oh, alright, stand by. Let's reverse that order. Put this thing through here. Clip that in there. Clip it in, snap that on. Boom. Man, it's almost like we know what we're doing. We're gonna leave that right there. Hey, okay. Look at all the room for activities. We got our lift pump right here. That's pretty bitchin'. It kind of looks aftermarket, but I don't think it is. Here's our old def feed and return. Those are probably just gonna stay there. And then, let's see. We just capped our diesel fuel line off our diesel injector. Don't need that anymore. They would use these actually when they go into regen to increase exhaust gas temps and burn out all the soot in the pipe. Part of why this one is such a different color than the rest of them is because it gets hot. So no more heat out of that bad boy. But I guess now I'll pop my rubber boots off, which I wish I had one of those cool tools, but I don't. So I'll fight with those for a little while and then try and take this whole piece off as one. Oh, you know, I've fought my fair share of exhaust hangers in my lifetime so far, so I'm gonna sufficiently lube these things up with some nice tractor grease. Oh yeah, yeah, really lube them up. Make it easy for these things to pop off. What? It's not weird. It's just practical. Like a glove. First one down. Using my big old pry bar to do this. Like that big boy. I got a lot of junk down here already. Oh man. Keep your workplace clean, but not doing a good job of that so far. Alright, let's go do the next one. Lube it up, pop it off. I can't see because of the sunlight. Really? Oh, there's two back here. Nice. Alright. Well, still a little grease. Alright, let's see. One more jangle down like this one. Oh, careful. Thing back in there. Come on. Here. Pick up. Woo. Careful. Don't try this at home, or maybe do. like it was working. Definitely the wrong angle. All right. Woo! Got that one. Got that one. Now I gotta get the back one. This thing's heavy. Whew. All right. Wow. And despite this being a fairly new truck, I'm dirty. Ugh. Alright. Where's the last one? Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Jesus. There we go. Yep. Okay. Now she is loose. Whew. All right. So you can see hanging. We're about to find out which connectors I didn't undo. But that whole thing is hanging. Oh. Did I not get this connector? Yep, I didn't do this connector. So I gotta pop that one off. That'll be an easy one. But then this, I should be able to slide back and then down. Oh, let's do that. Easier if I had a buddy. Bench press this thing. Yep. Bench press it. And twist it. I may have to cut. I didn't want to. I may have to. Yeah. I'm gonna have to cut. Give it a couple more tugs. Maybe I can get it over that way. All right. Well, I'm weak, but I'm gonna cut it right there so I can leave a little bit enough if somebody ever wants to put this in another truck and just piece those two flanges back together. That way I can get both these out fairly easily. All right. There we go. Get you some of that. Managed to keep everything intact, minus this one cut. I just didn't have the strength or ability to get this over the axle with the amount of room I have vertically as well. So one cut, you could do an exhaust band clamp there and it'd be fine. Now that we have the DPF out, diesel particulate filter, DEF tank, and now we've got I think a resonator and the SCR inside of it. Let's fire it up real quick and see what it sounds like. I don't think it'll sound much different, but you know, kind of fun to check midway through. This is what a L5P Duramax sounds like. So, still quiet. Quiet and sad. So this next part is a little different. It's a really tight spot and I have to get in here and I'm gonna have to cut again. So I've got my Sawzall with my Diablo blade. There's no other blade that you should be using other than a Diablo, I'm telling you. But if you get in here, and let me slide real quick. Get my nice cushion underneath me. But this next piece is this canister here. I think it's another diesel particulate filter. But you'll see I actually need to get this piece cut right here. So this canister and then this pipe can just fall right out without having me to take out this cross member supporting the transmission. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Man, how much room do I have above it? Not a whole lot at all. Yeah, we'll see. I want to try and do this without having to cut this far end off, but I'm not sure. Let me get in here with the blade and I'll let you know. I do know once it's cut though, this piece and the 4 bolts that are up here come out pretty easily. These are the 4 bolts that attach to my downpipe. And then I also have some coolant lines here. I'm gonna have to pinch these off with a vice grip. There's a cap line, there's a loop for this that I believe I showed you earlier, but we're gonna pull that out and that way you guys can see it. But this just gets capped off or gets looped in so it no longer is feeding coolant to our DEF injector up there. Hey, come on, get over here, come on. All right. Sawzall battery died. I'm also covered in metal dust, so get the old leaf blower trick. Now, get you better. Also, side note, this tailgate. Oh, don't rip your pants. It's pretty awesome. Would recommend. All right, I need a big battery. That'll work. Ooh. Sawzall, round 2. This is the nitty-gritty part of all this. Okay, I have, hang on. I really need to get some wheels on this thing. There we go. All right. I have this canister loose. Cut right there. And loose right there. But I need to get out this pipe first before I can actually slide this canister forward and then down to get it out. So next we're gonna pull off this piece here, lube it up, pull that off with this whole pipe, but just those four bolts here, boom boom, and then boom boom, 15 millimeter, and this whole pipe should just drop right out. Come on. Aha. We're loose. Now I gotta cap those coolant lines. I got my hose from my kit that was provided. This is just a loop here. So this is gonna go on the coolant here. I'm gonna remove this barb. I think they wanted me to tie it into one of these lines. I guess I still could, but anyway, I'm just gonna remove it and clamp that there, and clamp that there. And that thing's in. Let's see how slick I can be. Oh, yep, okay. Yep, all right, and the boom. Not as slick as I want it to be. Let's just say that. I'm leaking coolant. And this is not fun. Not ideal. I need to let's plug these two together for right now. Oh boy. A little bit of a mess, but not the worst I've ever done. I'm gonna leave like that for a second until I we'll pull this one off. Hey, hey, bye, bye. Alright, I got those looped right now. I'm gonna slide this thing out. Oh, there we go. And see if I can finagle this. get it down past the hanger here. Maybe. Maybe I take it out this way. Let's see. Oh. There we go. Go up. Up and then down. Yeah, I should be able to go down. I'm getting hung up on my exhaust hanger right here. So, I think if I can get this up a little bit more, I can, yeah. Oh yeah, this is gonna be able to wedge. There it goes. Yep. Let me use two hands. Oh, don't go cut yourself, Ben. There we go. There's a connector I got to undo. Of course. Always a connector to undo. Let me grab my light. I got my pipe out up there. I just had to remove my last little def injector connector. I'll come back and finish up my coolant loop there. But now I'm fighting with, come on light. Now I'm fighting with this can right here. I can get it down to here, but I'm still interfering up on the top side back here. So I think a little more finagling I might be able to get it, but it's just tight, that's all. And if I can't, I'll cut this off right here and it'll pop right out. So we got the coolant loop taken care of, all buttoned up there. Now with the open down pipe, that down pipe's got to come out, but I'm gonna leave it for now until tomorrow. But we're gonna leave that down pipe open, and now we're gonna fire it up and see what it sounds like with just down pipe and SCR. So let's get this thing set up here. Oh man, here we go. Oh man, hey. At least it smells like a diesel now. Alright. Alright. Let me grab my light. That is enough for the night. Covered in coolant, covered in diesel, covered in metal, all the above. However, we now have all the old after treatment removed. There's my def injector, my first DPF, some sensors, my diesel injector for regen, second DPF, and all the way to my Venturi and def tank. So that's how we're going to leave it for now until tomorrow. And we'll tear into the after treatment EGR, SCR, and the engine.